everyone, it's Shel C, and today I'm sharing with you my altered shipping tag for the Pick a Stick Challenge for September 2019. Pick a Stick Challenge is a Facebook group, and we offer a tag challenge, an artist trading card challenge, and an art journal page challenge each month based on randomly drawn one-word prompts. So my tag today is really kind of inspired by the color, which is periwinkle. So I pulled out a bunch of what I consider that color. I think it's more blue than lavender, um, but it's kind of a lavendery bluish color. I think based on the color of a periwinkle shell. I'm not sure, but anyway. Um, I pulled out some pieces out of my bin of stuff that sits under my desk that I just put scraps in, and thinking about different ways that I can make this tag. The first prompt is beautiful, and I had this little scrap in my bin of a drawing that I had made. I made a set of artist trading cards a long time ago. I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. And they were supposed to have faces on them. And so I had drawn this face, and then I scanned it and I printed it on multiple cards so that I could color it individually. I ended up making them, all some of them real light, some of them real dark, all different types. Because I don't like to do the same thing over and over. So I colored them all individually. And this is the scrap that's left. It's on mixed media paper. It's been drawn with a permanent type of marker. And I thought it was beautiful. I also think that butterflies are beautiful. And so I wanted to give this fairy a butterfly wing. It had kind of a drawing of a wing, but it was cut off because of the size of an artist trading card. So I cut that part off and want to add a wing. So I had this die cut butterfly that I used to trace a wing out of it because I wanted to save the die cut. I think it's really pretty. I want to use it on something else. I don't want to cut it in half. So I just use it as like a pattern or a stencil. So then the next step was spritz. And the paper that I had made the butterfly wing out of had metallic paint on it. It was some type of a gel print, I think, on deli paper, and it had that periwinkle, some purple, and some like kind of silvery metallic paint on it. So I decided to use Glimmermist, which used to be made by Canvas Corp brands. So I have a bunch of it. I used to be on their design team, and it's glittery. It's got mica in it. It's sparkly and shimmery and glittery. And so I used a few different colors of it in my spray box to spray over this little piece scrap of doily that I was planning on using, and then also the back of the tag to make the whole thing more metallic-y. I used a color called Precious Metal, and then I also used one called Majesty Purple, which really turned out to be more of a blue, I think. And then also one that's called, I think it's called It's Purple. It's a very purpley color. But those are the three colors I used through the project. And I just made the background more interesting by using a Stencil Club stencil. Just, for pattern, not really trying to make it all about the stencil, but it just gives it more pattern. I'm going to add some more purple onto it. And that Precious Metal spray kind of resists the other purple. It's interesting stuff. It's probably the most interesting of the Tattered Angel sprays is that Precious Metal. And it's not the first one I got. I was using it when I was playing around with Linda Israel at her hotel room. We were doing some gel printing with Tattered Angels mists, and she had the Precious Metal, and I just loved it, and I bought it at that point. And I'd already been on their design team maybe at least a year, if not more. So the next prompt is knife, and I decided to use an X-Acto knife and cut out part of the butterfly wing so that I could put something behind it. And I wasn't sure what I was going to put behind it yet. I just thought it would be interesting to have, that some of those parts cut out. So I have a cutting mat and a metallic ruler, which holds down the paper for me real nice. And then an X-Acto knife, and I'm cutting out kind of the bigger teardrop shapes from the wing, and I used my die cut again to trace around so that I could figure out where those places were. I thought maybe I'd put the piece of sprayed lace behind it, but it turned out it was too of the same color, so it really wouldn't show up. If I'd left it white, it would have been pretty, but that scrap I had already sprayed. So yeah, I spritzed it. That's what I did. Deli paper is a little bit tricky to cut out with a knife. You need to make sure that your knife is really sharp. So then I had this black paper and I decided to put that behind the wing. So I glued the wing to the black paper and cut it out again. More fussy cutting. I also took my black Posca pen and drew around the smaller shapes that I hadn't cut out and made sure that my lines were all good and black around the edges where I had cut before. So I glued this to, this is text weight black paper that I actually have out for gel printing, but I just grabbed a piece of it. I also spritzed a little bit of that precious metal on there so that the black wouldn't be quite as black, and so it would have that shimmery effect because it's just cool. The whole tag is really shimmery, and hopefully you'll be able to see it in the close-ups. And I also think I'm going to do a little short video with Boomerang that kind of shows me twisting it back and forth in the sun so that you can see the shimmeriness of the tag, because it's all very metallic-y and shimmery, and that's always so hard to see on a video. It just doesn't show. Just doesn't show. So I've got my parts, and I realize that the next step, the last step in the tag challenge, there's 4 steps in the tag challenge, and you do them all, and you do them in order. So the last one is carve. And I thought about it, and I decided I would just carve myself a little stamp using my Easy Carve or Speedy Carve rubber from Speedball and my Speedball tools. These little pieces are scraps from another stamp that I carved, and it's really easy to carve it. It's very buttery, and with these tools, these like kind of gouging tools, which that I just used one in this case, but there are other sizes and shapes, and they're stored inside the handle, so they're easy to find. Both of these products are from Speedball, and if you like to carve your own stamps, they're a good way to go, this particular stuff. So I just carved one little stamp. It's kind of a hexagon with a star shape in the middle, and I used some Encore pigment ink. That's sticky ink, for those of you who don't know about different inks. This one is a silver color, but it's sticky, so you can emboss with it. So then I got out some detail embossing powder and just embossed those shapes that I stamped on there in silver. Detail powder just means it's more ground up, so it's finer and you can get better detail with it. There's different types of grinds or grades of embossing powder for different things. And actually this month there is an embossing or emboss prompt that came out, but what didn't happen to come out on the tag challenge, but I embossed it anyway. I already had the stuff out, so yeah, I just felt like it. This is heat embossing. So just a real simple carved stamp out of a scrap of leftovers from the Speedy Carve or Easy Carve. I'm not sure which one it is. And I'm not actually sure the difference between Easy Carve and Speedy Carve. They seem the same to me, but one's pink and one's blue. I know they're different in that way. You can also use erasers, like inexpensive eraser, to make your own carved stamps. That's fun. I sometimes do that. I even had a really large eraser that I got from the dollar store that said for big mistakes, and it's a big eraser, and I used that one to carve stamps before, and I carved it on both sides so you could get 2 different stamps from 2 different sides. And that cost $1. So yeah. So I'm now gluing everything together. I've got my craft glue out. It's Aleene's tacky glue, And I've glued down the butterfly wing. I've glued down the scrap of mixed media paper that has the face drawing on it. And then I'm going to also be gluing down that lacy looking piece at the bottom after I color this. But I'm going to color with Neocolor 2 water soluble crayons, and I'm mixing it with a little bit of titanium white acrylic paint to make it a little bit more easy to blend. But I found for this little tiny projects like this is the easiest way to color with Neocolor is to scribble some on your paper and then pick it up with the water brush, some type of wet brush. I like to use the water tank brushes that have water in the handle because then I don't have to keep dipping it into the water. And I can easily control the amount of water by how much I squeeze the center of the water brush. So I really love these for doing any types of projects. But I just scribble and then pick it up, and then in some cases I come back in with the moistened acrylic paint and blend it down. It makes it really smooth and creamy blend when you do that. Now this color, it's called sky blue on the crayon, but I think it's periwinkle. This is the color I consider periwinkle, which is a bluish lavender, and so I think that's what it should be called. But it's not. It's called sky blue. So I thought it was going to be called periwinkle when I picked it up, and I'm like, hey, that should be called periwinkle. But anyway, my idea of what periwinkle is, I believe, came from Crayola crayons way back when I was a kid. I was really into Crayola crayons. That's probably not surprising to you people who watch my channel. I've always been into color and coloring, and I've just gone from, really inexpensive crayons and coloring books to more expensive crayons and my own drawings, and yeah, just evolved over time. So I used a little bit of that white acrylic paint, white acrylic paint to fill in the little areas that I had drawn around from when I traced the die cut butterfly wing. And what did I do next? Oh, these are little metal stickers. I think Peg sent them to me, and I had 2 left, and I thought it would be cool to use them on this project since I've got the whole shimmery metallic thing going on, and they're kind of, I don't know, interesting shapes. So I stuck those on there so that I could be done with them. I think she maybe got them at Tuesday Morning. I have no idea what company they're from or where she got them, but I think that's who sent them to me one time when we were doing a metallic collaboration. Maybe I'll find the metallic collaboration and link it up here in the video in the iCard or at the end screen. I'm not sure if I can find it, but I remember doing that a while ago, and I think Peg and other people were in it too. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll look for it. I have a lot of videos. There's probably getting close to 600 now, and I really can't remember every single video at this point, but I will look for it. So then I just did some finishing up work, some shading and shadows around the edges with the black Stabilo All pencil and some highlights with the white Posca pen, and I added a black background to the tag. The tag already had paint on it on both sides from gel printing. I have a whole stack of these that have paint on them already. So I wanted to cover up the back so you don't see the other painty side, which is kind of oranges and reds. I also found a saying that says no beauty shines brighter than that of a good heart, which I thought was a good saying from Tim Holtz stickers, and I stuck that on. I put the black background on, and I put some black organza and a scrap of shiny purple ribbon, very thin ribbon that was in my box. So yeah, that was finishing it up. I hope you've enjoyed this project. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below if you have a question about altered shipping tags or something that I did in the video. I'll be happy to answer it. I usually answer comments and questions in about within 24 hours. Also, you can pin this, you can share it with your friends, and if this is your last video for today, it would be great if you would click on to a different video that has 1,000,000 views before you completely leave YouTube, because if you leave on my video, then they think I sent you away and I get punished for that. So that is it for me for today and the Altered Shipping Tag Challenge from Pick a Stick. Bye-bye.